Okay, so today we are going to go through template creation. First of all, I'm going to start by explaining there are two different ways that you can send invoices into the system. So the first way, you can see this tile here, it's drag and drop. So if you want to, you can drag a file in here from your downloads folder on your PC and drop it in here. And then just always make sure you click this send for processing button in here. If the PDF has multiple pages in it, so say it's one PDF and it has, say, like 10 single page invoices in it, you can come over here and you can flick this switch to split pages, so it automatically splits every page into a single document. So if you drag the file in here and click this before clicking send for processing, the system will automatically split that document into 10 single page invoices for you. Just go back to the dashboard then. The second way then is you can send it in through email by forwarding it in, and that will come into the new documents tile here. And where you find your email address that they can be sent to is by going to the COG and company settings, and then in here it's email account settings, and then you'll find your email address here. So you can give that to your suppliers, or if you wanted to forward them in yourself, that's the email address you would use. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. So we're going to go into the new documents folder. And we will start off with this first one here that came in today. So you can open it up by clicking this here, or if you wanted to view the document as well, you can click this black page. So when you click the black page, it comes up just up here, it says view. You'll notice this symbol is similar to the one that was on the new documents page. Basically, it means to create a template. So go to create the template, and we can see this here is a credit note. So you'll always click this wand up here for setup with wizard, and that will give you this dialog box. You can see here that the system has already recognized that this is a credit note. So we're going to go in and we're going to pick our supplier. And if I actually move this box out of the way, you can see the address of the supplier is over here, and it's for a part supplier. So I'm going to search by name up here. And we have it here, so a part supply company. So you'll always click this tick on the left, and you can see in here supplier has been assigned.
Okay, and what's the vision version? Do I need to do anything with that?
So I would always say leave it on the one that it defaults to, but you can see here if you're having issues, try changing to version 2 and so on. So if I drop this down, there's 4 versions in here. Basically what it does is that's how the data is extracted by our AI from the document. So it will default to, so this is P, you don't need to know this, but it stands for PDF. So it's the system's basically picking up that this is a PDF and thinks that this would be the best version for picking it up. If you're, when you're extracting the information, so your date or your number, your document number or anything like that, the way I describe it is sometimes it comes up looking like hieroglyphics, or I might put a 1 as an I or something like that, and that's when I would recommend changing the vision version. So if I just click create on this to get this one started, if that did happen, so you're highlighting the say the date, and in here it is picking it up correctly, but say this is picking it up as like LST rather than the first, you will come up here and click restart template and delete this template, and then go to setup with wizard again. Okay. And change the vision version in the drop down after you've selected your supplier to the next one down until the information is being extracted correctly. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll start off. So the system's already picked up that it's a credit note. So the next step then is, how do you know this document is from a part supplier or a part supply company? So I usually would go for the logo that the supplier puts on the document. If there's no logo, so say this wasn't here, I would then go over and highlight the first line of the address, because that should be consistent on every document. So if there is no logo, the supplier should put a part supplier over here every time. So I'll just go back and do the logo for this one. This one is optional, as you can see. So how do you know the correct branch from a part supply company has been chosen? So what that would be is, say you would have, say, a part supply company Ireland, a part supply company UK. So I would say if this is a part supply company Ireland, I would just highlight Ireland over here. It's good to know though that this this selection is only you're only able to draw the box basically on one line, so you wouldn't be able to highlight the entire address like that. You'd have to just do it on one line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. We don't need that on this one because we didn't have a separate branch. So go down. So we can see here that the system has picked up a lot of stuff automatically by itself. So we have our credit note date. So it's going date and down, and credit note number. Now the purchase order number didn't select properly, so we will delete that one. As you can see here, so it has a key, so that's like the keyword. So it's picking up credit note, and the direction then is it's looking down. And then you can see there it's picked up credit note CN-0001, and that's the correct number over here. You can see then if I go down to date, the keyword is date and then ... which it has here, and then the direction it's looking down, which is correct, and then it has date ... 1st of October 2015, which is correct over here. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's no purchase order number on this from what I can see, so I can just skip that selection. And we're going to go down to the credit note table next, which is this section here. So I usually do it the width of the heading, just in case as well. So I'll demonstrate here. So I'm going to draw this the width of the word quantity. Because the supplier has the one here, it looks as though that when they're doing up these, that they kind of make the selection go over to the right hand side. So if that had bigger figures in it, so say if it was 100 or 1000, and if I just did it here, and if it moves out this way, we're not going to be able to capture that correctly because the box isn't drawn over those figures. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. So I started it at the top of the word quantity and dragged it across, and you can see I'm bringing it down to the line there.
Yeah.
We have no part code showing on this one, so we'll go to description next. And again, we have description here, so I'll start it at the start of that, and we drag it across. I usually bring it across to the start of the next heading. It's just that if this line did go on a little bit longer, again, like the quantity, we wouldn't pick up any of the data if I just stopped it at the end of that one there.
Yeah.
So unit price is the price here. So again, the width of the word or the heading, and the value is the amount, and again, the width of the heading there. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And just if there were extra lines on that, if there were more than 2 lines, there's like 3 or 4, would InShip know to make the tables bigger, or what would happen there?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So basically, I'll demonstrate that to you now. So when I draw this total goods box around subtotal, and again, you'll see keyword is subtotal, and we're looking to the right, which is correct, and we're picking up the 80 in there. So that's perfect. What the system does, so if this was to have, like, say, even one extra table row, our system goes in and it calculates the distance between the end of this box and the start of this box. So if the table was to be bigger, the system knows that if this has moved, to move this down with it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, and we can see here that the system has already picked up the total. We're looking to the right and we have the correct figure in there. There's no VAT showing on this, so we won't select a VAT selection.
Perfect.
So we can see, yeah, so the total's captured correctly. So we're going to go into supplier rules quickly here just to make sure that it's set up correctly. So we always want to make sure that approval required is switched on. If that isn't switched on, just to show you, so you can see there was somebody there that was assigned to this supplier for approval. So we go back in and add them in here. So when approval isn't switched on, if there's no issues with the document, it's going to go straight into the upload folder. It's always best to have approval required switched on, even if it is just for any company admin, just so that the document, like, you can double check that everything was extracted correctly from the document before uploading it onto your accounts package.
Yep.
So we can see here, so this supplier is processed via nominal ledgers. To add your nominal ledger for this supplier, we go in here and we're going to assign this nominal ledger here to it. And you can see it's coming in here. So you have your code, your description, and that 100% of this is going to the nominal. And if you made a mistake, you can just click this action here and it removes the nominal.
Yep.
Perfect. So there's two ways then to finish the template. Within supplier rules, there's this button here for finish template. And also up the top here, this tick, you can see it says finish. So when we click it there, on to the next document now, you can see this one is an invoice and it's also for car parts supplier. But you can see it's very bad quality, it's handwritten. So if we went in to create a document, our system, even with drawing boxes around the information, it's not going to be able to pick that up correctly. So we'll have to set this document up as a manual document. So you still do the same thing by coming up here and click your setup with wizard. You still get the same modal box popping up. So we're going to select our supplier. And it's for car parts supplier. Again, you still go ahead and click your tick. And with this one, like I said, instead of clicking create like we did in the last one, we're going to click on manual. And that will bring us to this screen here. So it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's manual creation of a template. So you manually enter in all of the information that's needed. So invoice number is this over here. So we have 3A5. The document date is over here. So it's the 24th of the 4th, 2020. We've no due date. I don't see a purchase order number, delivery date. No, none of them. So we'll scroll down. So what we'll need to do here is we need to put the subtotal amount to the nominal ledger. So that's 50. And you can see it automatically updates the total goods down here. We have, this is tax at 23%. So in your 23% VAT code, you delete the 0 and we'll type in the 1150 that's shown here. And you can see once I updated this and this, they both got in here and updated the total down here, and 6150 is what we were looking for there. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. So once you're happy that you've entered in all the correct information and everything matches the document, you just come up here and you can click save. Click and save will move it into the approval folder, or you can do save and approve and that will move it into your upload folder. For this one, I'm just going to click save.
Perfect.
So we'll go back into our new documents. And we'll go into the next one here. So this time I'm going to click create template from in here and it will bring me to this page. Now with this one here, we can see this is for the food network, and just scrolling down, having a look at the document, there's 2 pages shown here and it continues, the table continues on the second page. So for this one, I'm going to be showing you how to set up a multi-page template. So again, we do setup with wizard. We're going to select our supplier and it's food network. And we're going to click create.
And if I had a template set up for this as a single page, would it recognize it as a multi-page, or would I have to set up 2 different templates?
You would have to set up 2 different templates. So once you have one single page template created for a document, if you get more single page templates, or sorry, single page documents in from that supplier, it should match to that single page template that you created. But in this case, we've gotten a multi-page document in and there was obviously no multi-page template created for this supplier. So it will go into your new documents, and you would just have to go in and create the template on it to move it out to new documents. And again, the same as with the single page documents, if you get another multi-page document in, the system should know to match it to this template.
Okay.
So we can see the system's picked up that it's an invoice straight away. So I'm going to highlight the logo for how do we know this is from the Food Network. Again, we have this optional one here. We'll skip that for the moment. So get rid of order number just to see. Okay, so the invoice to the right is correct. The system is picking up that this is the invoice date, which is correct. You can see here that, like I was saying, there's a keyword and a direction and then what we're picking up. And with this, it's just this I symbol here because we're looking in this exact location for this information. If you think that the supplier would move this up or down or to the left or to the right, it'd be good to delete that selection and use your keyword. So then we'll look for the word date and then look to the right when we find that word.
Okay, so I should just generally try to have a key so it never goes, so the documents don't go into alerts and to save problems.
Yeah, if it's not possible, if there's no keyword, don't worry about it. If the supplier keeps that information in the same location consistently, it shouldn't cause any issues.
Okay.
So we're going to move on now to our table. So we'll go for our quantity, which is over here. So again, I'm doing it the width of this column here, and I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the page. Reason being is if the supplier was to put more line items on this first page, we'll capture them.
Okay.
We don't have a part code, so we'll skip that and go to description. You can see here that I just need to determine the width of the box. The system knows to keep the same height as the other box that I drew. So you just need to, once you have one done for the table, you just need to determine what width they're going to be. So we do the same with the unit price and with our value. And we can see the system has tried to pick up figures in here, but it's not picked up anything. So I'm just going to delete these because these are going to be on the second page. And we'll go back up and into the second page. So on the second page, you need to do the invoice table and invoice bottom. So we select this quantity. You'll need to draw the box again. It won't remember to keep the same width as the same width as the first page. But we'll go down as far as this line because we can see our totals are starting down here. You see the way it looks as though it's deleted the first selection.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. If I refresh the page and go back into the invoice table, you can see it actually was keeping both selections.
Oh, okay.
So we'll go on to our description. And that's happened because I refreshed the page, so it should be grand from now on. So you see the way it's not automatically moving on to the next selection now since I refreshed the page?
Yeah.
If that does happen, if you come up here and click on this toggle wizard mode, it will jump back up to the very first selection. But if you then go back down to the selection that you want to be on, when you finish that, it will move on to the next one.
Okay.
So now we're going to do our totals. So we have our subtotal. So we're going to grab subtotal and go to the right. And we have subtotal, looking to the right, and we picked up the correct value. You can also draw the box this way. So if you do VAT to the right and just elongate the box out to the right, the system will still, or should still, pick up this figure here. So we'll have our keyword as VAT and we're looking to the right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. And then again, we'll do total due to the right. And just double check that that's correct. So we're going to double check our supplier rules. Approval required is switched on. Process by nominal ledger. We have a nominal ledger in here for food costs. That's perfect. And this time I'm going to click Finish Template from within here. Now, is that all making sense so far?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. So we can see here this bar is fully green and we don't have a button to create template anymore. So this is the template we've just created and it's going through the process of trying to match it to any other documents that may be similar on the system and just creating the template in general. So we're going to start this one. We can see this is for bits and bobs. So we're going to set up with Wizard, select our supplier, and search in here. So we have bits and bobs, click our tick, and then create. So again, we can see the system's picked up that this is an invoice. That's popping up over here. So how do we know this document is from Bits and Bobs? So we can highlight the supplier's logo, or if you wanted to, you could have highlighted this over here for Bits and Bobs.
So next then to highlight on the template will be this one here. So how do you know the correct branch from Bits and Bobs? So you can see there in brackets it's optional. When you would use this is, say for example, you have a Bits and Bobs Euro account or Bits and Bobs US dollars account, how you can distinguish between the two suppliers if the supplier sends you invoices in the same kind of format. So say they look like this, but it would say up here, it would say Bits and Bobs Euros or Bits and Bobs dollars or whatever. You can use this optional one to highlight that. It can only be done across one individual line. So you can't like highlight an area like this. It would have to be just one line.
Okay, and should you use that often, or is there any specific cases?
I only would really recommend using it for the example that I gave there, so that if the supplier invoices look the exact same and it is two separate branches, other than that, you, like it says there, it's optional. So like I know, for example, on this supplier that we don't have another account, so I would just skip it when I'm doing the template on this one.
So we can see the system has already picked up the invoice number and it's looking to the right. It knows that this is the document date and it's just looking in that location. Again, if you wanted to do it with a key, you can delete the selection and do it again. So now we have our keyword looking to the right and picking up the date. Just delete that. So this is for our purchase order number. We can see a PO number here. So we'll highlight this. And it's picking up PO hash, looking to the right, and we have our number, which is perfect. So next we're going to do our invoice table. So we have our quantity. You can see I'm bringing this box down as far as here.
Yeah.
So these fields are empty, but the supplier might decide the next time they give you an invoice, there's more items ordered, to put stuff in here. They could again make it longer again. So as I have already explained, that if we have this box drawn down to here, our system will calculate the distance between the start of, or sorry, the end of this box and the start of the next box. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. Okay, so we don't have a part code, so we'll just skip and go on to description. So again, it's keeping the height. I'm just determining the width. Unit price. And the value is our amount. So we can see here our total goods is picking up a subtotal to the right. There's also a subtotal down here. So just to show you the difference, if it was only showing up like this, you can highlight it this way. And we have subtotal and it's looking down because it's underneath it. So again, with the VAT, it's just highlighted the area. That information may move if there's more line items. So we're going to do VAT and down. And the same again with the total. We'll just delete that and we'll do total and down. So if they do move, we'll still be looking for our keyword.
Yeah.
Okay. And then check our supplier rules. We have our approval required. This is actually processed by a purchase order number, so we can change this here and finish template. That all making sense?
That makes sense, yep.
Perfect. So next we have a statement. So I'm going to show you how to create a template for a statement. So same again, you'll click this Setup with Wizard. The system has already picked up that this is a statement, and we can see the company name over here is Food Company. So we're going to select our supplier. We can even move this box out of the way just so that we can see that there. And we're going to select this one here. And create. So you can see this swirling around. The system's already picked up that this is a statement. How do we know this document is from Food Network? So I'm going to highlight just the company name because it doesn't seem to be a logo on this document. We go to our statement top. So we have our statement date. So again, this one, we just are looking in this area. We can remove this and also do it with our keyword and direction. If I go back up, now we're picking up statement date as our key and our direction is to the right. And it's picking up the 1st of the 5th, 2020, so that's perfect. Next, we're going to do our statement table. So with this here, we have our dates. So same as with an invoice, we're just going to highlight the area. And I'm going to bring this out like this. I actually just realized the total is here, so we'll bring it down as far as here. Invoice number. So we have an invoice number here and here. So we want to capture both of them. So we're going to bring this all the way out here, just in case. So you can see this, this supplier, they have an invoice down here. But they also have invoice and it's out a bit. So just in case it does come out as far as this line, we'll bring that out there. And this one, you'll see it's total values plus and minus. So we want to get our debits and credits, or as the supplier has called it here, charges and credits. And we're going to highlight the box across both of those columns. And the system has already picked this one up automatically. So we have total to the right for our total debt, and we're picking up the correct value. And all we need to do now is click OK. So we have this here from the Food Network. We can see there is a lot of pages up here. I know that these last 3 pages here are one invoice and that the rest of them are single page invoices. So in order to correct that, what we need to do is put a tick in these 3 boxes because they're all for they're all one invoice. And then we come up here and click this split document. And you can see now those 3 pages are gone. They're gone back into the system for reprocessing to see will they match a template, and if not, they'll go back into new documents.
Okay.
So I know the rest of these are all single page invoices. So I showed you there. So if there's more than 1 page, you need to put a tick and split. If it's just these are all single page invoices, it's okay to click this scissors here. And that basically splits that page off. So you see when we split this page off, it goes in created and placed in new documents. So we're just going to split this final one off. And now we're left with just this last one. I know that I have a single page template for the Food Network on the system already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and click this for attempt to match again. If I didn't have a template though, I would go in and do setup with Wizard as we have been doing.
Okay.